2-1.
3-1.
All right. Down in the blocks, Chris Young, Jeremy Northwest, Mark Dodson, talking about that less than relaxing 68-65 victory in the first round for the Michigan Wolverines out in the Mile High city of Denver, where Danny Wolf was going when he was ever at the free throw line. So it looked like it had an impact. But the Wolverines survived over UC San Diego in their first year of eligibility for the NCAA tournament. They've been D1 for a few years. But it's kind of what Seth Davis thought was going to happen, almost happened. At halftime, he kind of threw in the flag, saying, wow, Michigan can win this game. They're up, 14 or 15 at halftime. So if the Wolverines survived, they never, ever, Chris Young, get you to relax. As a Michigan fan, you a former player, man, there's no lead big enough. I mean, Michigan could be up by 30 with 6 to go, and I'd still be pacing around the room with this team.
Well, that's because we've seen this team now. I mean, how many games have they won by under 5 points, and how many games have they lost by? It's insane that they like to keep it that close, and they just figure out how to continue to make that one important play at the right moment.
Yeah,
it's just, as a fan, man, it's tough. I was definitely doing some pacing last night about midnight or so, staring at the TV.
Did you think that this was it? I mean, with a miss. I mean, Trey Donaldson, they're down with about 2.5 to go. He hits a big three. They were down 2 on that. I mean, that was obviously the possession of the game from a winning standpoint for the University of Michigan. But I mean, did you have okay, this is it? The luck's gonna run out. Did you have that moment?
Missing all those free throws. We were 50% from the free throw line. You know, we cleaned up the turnovers in the second half, but we still end up with 14 turnovers. I was like, this is it. San Diego, they missed all their threes in the second half. They started making shots in the first half. They missed all their threes. Second half, they started making shots. They started beating us to the bucket. They were getting offensive rebounds, and it's like, yeah, this is it. And I'm gonna have to live up here in Spartyland and just hear this nonsense for the next year about how they're going to beat by a quote unquote JV team and all this stuff. So
right. Well, Mark Dodson, now you've been highly critical of the quote unquote pre-switching of this Michigan defense, and that was truly epitomized last night of the downfall of that pre-switching. A lot of floor space for UC San Diego to operate, to get those threes. They're backing people down. They're going to the paint, dipping back out. And man, it was a classic case of why that's not a good defense, right?
It's a lazy defense.
Yeah,
it's a lazy defense, and I don't know why they play it. And it's not so much that I'm critical of it. I just hadn't had anybody explain to me why they play it that way, or what the advantage is in playing that way, other than it's easy to teach. Because all you're doing is saying, all right, you go get that guy, you go get. And when there's a blown assignment, there's no accountability for that. We got guys. If you watch them play, man, it's like Keystone Cops, especially for real, it is, and especially after you bring Vlad out top or Danny out top. Watch what they do once the guy they were checking is no longer dribbling anymore. Just kind of go back to the middle of the court and play a one-man zone, and you're saying, all right, who are you checking now?
Yeah,
I'm checking the paint. I'm checking the paint.
Yeah.
And man, that ain't no way to disrupt an opponent's game plan. And I like defenses to get in your face and say, I'm not gonna give you anything. I'm gonna force you to your weekend. I'm gonna make you. I'm gonna cut you off. How often do you see our guys chasing dudes? Just chasing dudes. Anyway, that's. I'd be curious as to what your guys' assessment of, starting with Jeremy, since you were up on the batter's box, Jeremy. What was your assessment? That's the first time I've seen UCSD. And my impression, I didn't see a whole lot of hoopers on that team, but I'd be interested in hearing what you guys thought about the team that Michigan played last night.
Well, my thing is that I don't know what's going on with the sound right now. It's a true surviving advance. They got super fortunate last night to get through the game for the victory. You got. I wasn't impressed with UC San Diego at all. But Michigan shoots what did they shoot? They shoot 40% from the field, 50% from the line, and 30% from three-point land, and they win. If I'm a Michigan fan, very disappointed in the effort for all ends. But the fact, this is the NCAA tournament. It's survive and advance.
Yeah. Hey, Chris. And I want to go back to Chris and talk about the bigs, but I don't know if we're getting some audio feedback, and it might be from your phone when you adjusted. Can you tweak that, Chris?
Yeah, sir.
Yeah, because I'm hearing. Yeah, okay, that goes away. Okay, I want to talk about the bigs, CY, because you were big at Michigan, and I'm telling you what, I'm just going to make this general takeaway. I thought they both looked extremely soft last night. What are your thoughts?
They both of them did, and I don't understand what, especially Vlad was doing on the offensive side. Like, he didn't get one run out to the rim. Like, he always gets at least one or two run outs to the rim where he gets an easy basket or gets fouled, gets a dunk, something like that. Like, he wasn't running hard. He wasn't really trying to post up. He wasn't really crashing the offensive boards, with the exception of the very last possession of the game where he went up over three guys who are all 6'5" and got a rebound and got fouled and ended up making the free throws. Like, he was just kind of floating along the baseline, or he was at the top setting ball screens. Like, there was no duck-ins. There was no, hey, let's dribble down to the wing, and hey, look, a 7'1" guy's getting played by a 6'7" guy. Give him the ball and just let him go to work. He would have fouled out every guy that they had that they would have put on him. Yeah. Just let him go to work. And I don't understand what the game plan was of, he did a lot of hiding along the baseline and trying to hide behind that defender in that zone and trying to sneak in and stuff like that. Like, dude, just be 7'1". Just go slide around the rim. The ball will come to you. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Hey, man, that kind of game kind of highlights that Roddy picked it up a lot with the ball yesterday. But we got some guys that, Namari's not really a threat with the ball. No. Ruben's really not a threat with the ball. No. Trey perhaps could be a better threat than those two with the ball. But he was in and out yesterday. LJ, we got some real limitations, man, in terms of and that was exacerbated last night with the altitude and the fact that we don't have anybody's really to bring in that can give you good minutes.
Yeah.
Off the bench. And
we thought LJ was that guy the last couple of games, and he still could be that guy.
Yeah, he showed flashes last night of doing some good things, but then two possessions in a row he picks up stupid fouls, and it's he's trying. He's trying to create. He's trying to play that role of, okay, I'm going to be the spark coming in off the bench, but it's just had he been doing this since January and he could really embrace that role now, I think it'd be different. But with this just starting, 3 weeks ago, like, he's still got to figure it out.
Anybody know what size shoe Namari wears? Because
I know he's on the baseline all the time. I don't understand that one. We've seen this in a lot of games too.
Baseline, sideline, the 3-point line. Like, what are you doing, man?
I don't know what. Hey, Jeremy, I always say, and I had some of my Michigan guys on the thread, ugly win, ugly win. I'm telling you what, when you get in the NCAA tournament, every freaking win is gorgeous to me. Because as Jim Valvano stated many, many years ago, survive and advance. And so do you think, Jeremy, that you're going to get a flip of the script and get a better version of Michigan against A&M, win or lose, than you did last night at 10 o'clock?
Yeah, I mean, listen, A&M's a better, I don't want to say a better matchup for them, but A&M is going to play their style of basketball, Michigan style of basketball.
Right.
And, so I do think that it's a better matchup, and I think it's a toss-up who wins the game.
Jeremy, when you say better matchup, you mean a tougher matchup or an easier matchup?
Winnable matchup.
Yeah, and it's a better matchup for Michigan because these guys are going to play a Michigan brand of basketball, meaning they're trying to get up and down. They're just, they're going to be free flowing. There's going to be a lot of points in the game. And don't listen to me out there, bettors, because I've lost my ass in this tournament so far. But I'll say, like, I watched Texas A&M. To me, it's a great matchup for Michigan. That's just the God's honest truth. It should be a fun brand of basketball.
Yeah. Well, Chris, what's the best team for Michigan to play against? What's the style? What's the size? What are the
And
characteristics?
I think other than what UCSD was not a good team for Michigan to play against. Just, their style of basketball, the way they like to slow it down. They have quick little guards. Like, that's not what Michigan wants to play against. We saw that against Michigan State. That's not what Michigan wants to deal with. They want to deal with bigger guys inside and bigger wings that our big wings can match up with that aren't necessarily as fast. Like, that's what we want, and that's what A&M's got. And the type of basketball, like Jay said, that's exactly what Michigan wants to play. Now, Michigan could just take care of the ball. Yesterday, if they'd have taken care of the ball in the first half, they'd have been up 20, 25 points in the first half. And even if you give 10 or 15 of them back, you're still up.
Yeah,
They couldn't get out of their own way kicking the ball out of bounds.
That's a good point. Hey, Mark, I want to ask this question. I know we've all done it, being critical of certain players doing what, but who are you happiest with on this team? Who last night pleased you the most performing for Michigan?
Roddy. No. Well, and maybe it's because the expectations were lower.
Yep.
Trey, that shot Trey made, I had to run that back a couple times to
awesome.
really get a sense for how difficult that shot was.
Yeah.
And how deep that was. He had a big guy coming running at him. He made that shot like it was no pressure on him, and there was a ton of pressure on that dude to make
that was the season right there with that shot. I mean,
that was huge. Roddy, it was good to see Roddy just out there and the way he played. That was a good thing. He even hit a shot. And hey, man, and Cheddar, it's hard for me to talk about guys I'm pleased with and not mention Cheddar, because he was the guy that a whole bunch of folks would wonder why he made it to Michigan in the first place.
Yeah.
And when he does something, I'm just hustling, trying to wall up, whatever. Yeah, I'm giving somebody a rest. Because last night, Vlad was, again, he was gasping, and Danny looked like he might have been smoking some of that good stuff.
I mean, it looked like he had a heart attack there. I mean, he was just stuck in air at that line. I mean, it was kind of scary.
Yeah. I would say my only criticism of Cheddar's ever been, like, don't give up and ones. If you're going to foul him, if you're going to just try and wall up and stick a hip out and still get him, don't turn and look at the referee. Hit the guy and make him go earn his points.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're going to get a cheap foul going over someone's back. Really go over the back. Like, pick up 4 or 5 fouls like that, and I'll be really happy with what you're doing.
Jeremy, I want to ask you, because I know you put some money, you put some friendly bets on NCAA basketball. You said you have not done very well, but I mean, the Big Ten is 4-0 as we speak right now. All the games are on tonight for the Big Ten teams. But what has surprised you so far from the Thursday games and even into this game right now as we're watching? Baylor's barely hanging on with 1:19 as we're taping this.
Whoa, what's the score?
And I don't know if you guys are seeing this also, but Alabama's up 4 with 8 to go.
Yeah, with Robert Morris. But what stood out to you, Jeremy, so far?
Well, I mean, I don't. My biggest loss was I lost a ton of money on. I bet in game, and I bet the first half of Clemson McNeese State. At one point they had, and I think Will Wade is a hell of a coach.
Yes.
But I was watching freaking Clemson, and I'm watching all these guys that are seniors, and they have like 8 points, and it's 12 minutes in, and I bet the over for like it's 50 points for the half. Clemson scored 13 points the whole damn half, and I'm like, how does that? To me, fundamentally, I honestly, and I'm not making this up. I could take CY. A couple guys from the MAC, and I do believe that we could score over 13 points in the half against McNeese State.
Hey, man,
I'm not lying.
How come you skipped over me, man? Hey, wait a minute now. That's an insult. I'm insulted. You just said, let me see CY and a couple of dudes from the MAC. Not Dot. CY.
Oh, we can put Dot in the corner and just let him spot up, man. We'll find him in the corner.
I mean, Clemson was missing wide open threes. Like I'm not saying McNeese State makes it hard on you, hard as hell. But I'm saying, like, someone's running at you and they were just missing everything. I'm like, what is going? It looked like it looked like a question.
Clemson looked very uninterested in that game.
Yeah, and they're from the ACC, the worst conference in the nation.
Now I know.
I'll tell you what. When
Now
they say, remember last year when they tore up Michigan in that December game
Yep.
right after Christmas? It's like, damn, that Will Wade. He's a heck of a coach.
Yep,
he really is. I picked them to win in my pool.
So did I. I should have bet them.
I think they're gonna roll, baby.
yeah.
I went to sleep on them because I forgot Will Wade was coaching. That was just poor intel on my part. That dude,
Very much.
you're
so.
right. That dude can straight up coach, and he's got a bunch of dogs, just guys that just out there want to hoop.
Yeah.
And I got something to say to Dot. Dot, last time when you said Florida was going to win the Natty, I shook my head. And I started to look at this. And you know who I'm on right now? Florida, my friend.
Florida.
I'm on them. That's who I think's going to win it.
Yeah,
I started to look at that and I go, I think Dot's got something there.
Yeah, that's the safest bet. Yeah, the tournament is a tournament, but that's. I think if you went on there and you did a search for of these NBA picks, of these college basketball picks, these pools, I think and ask which team gets picked to win it the most, it would be Florida.
I can guarantee you're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know who it is?
Who?
Duke. Duke's like 20% right now.
Yeah.
Like they say, like 20% of the nation picking Duke to win it.
Okay, Chris, who's the first Big Ten team to lose?
Ooh,
mama.
Illinois?
Probably Illinois. Yeah, I would think Illinois. As much as I would love to say Sparty, I just don't think that's in the cards. So, yeah, I think it's going to be Illinois. It's going to be the first one, then Purdue. And then we'll see what Michigan's able to do tomorrow late afternoon, I mean, it can honestly go either way against A&M. I mean, Michigan could blow them out. They could get blown out, or it could be a 1-point game with 1 minute to go.
Hey, Dot, what is Michigan going to do against A&M? Give me a prediction. What's going to happen against the Aggies?
Hey man, it's hard to pick against Michigan. It is, and this is, and you keep thinking that the turnovers are going to come back and bite them. The lack of offensive rebounds are going to come back and bite them. Or giving up. You keep thinking it's going to bubble. The lack of playmakers is going to come back and bite them.
Mm-hmm.
But the only Michigan State and Illinois, and then to a certain extent Maryland at home, were the only games where that really showed up. I'm looking. I haven't watched, but maybe a couple minutes at TAMU. I certainly don't know how they normally play. My impression is they hit the glass.
They vomit everybody.
And they're athletic. I don't know how disciplined they are. If they're not disciplined, then Michigan can be right there with them. If they can't shoot the ball, then Michigan can be right there with them. Assuming that Michigan doesn't run out like they can, like they're checking Glenn Rice and thinking that we got to run out here and stop this guy from shooting this 3-ball.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I'd be real disappointed if Michigan doesn't show up and is very competitive tomorrow.
They will show up. I promise you they will show up. They might not win, but I still think they're going to win, but they will show up. You will see a different team. And that happens a lot in the first and second round. Winning a first round game, I don't care.
right.
It's hard. It's hard to win a game.
The key to the game tomorrow is Wade Taylor. That's it.
Who that?
Wade Taylor.
Guard.
He's a 6-foot guard for Texas A&M who's a bucket getter. He runs the whole show. Box number 4, he's the guy. And if someone can lock him up,
like Danny Wolf.
No, you can't.
You know Danny's gonna be checking him, right?
No. Wade Taylor.
Danny will be checking him, right?
It's Cheddar too. They love doing that when Cheddar's in, getting him involved in that switch, so that way Cheddar's guarding a point guard, and that's a problem.
Yep.
In my opinion, just my opinion, they need to find a way to get Reuben Jones on this dude and wear him out.
He would only check him for a microsecond, because as soon as it looks like the guy is gonna move somewhere, they're gonna
I know that they're scouting. They're looking at that kind of stuff, and they're just gonna be like, just run right at one of the big guys. They'll immediately switch. Then you pull that big guy out and attack.
Yep. Yep.
No.
And if he can shoot,
Mhm.
can he shoot? You say he can shoot?
Wade Taylor is a problem. I think he was first team SEC. Wade Taylor's the problem.
Yeah, tough league. Plus tough competition in the SEC. Probably better than the Big Ten. So when I make selections, I go with the competition as well. So we will see. We're going to be back, folks, here on Down the Block here on the Crawford Podcasting Network on Monday or Tuesday, whenever the boys are available. We'll hopefully break down, be talking about a Sweet 16 appearance for the Michigan Wolverines, the first-year coach, Dusty May. Again, great job, guys. And survive and advance. Onward we go. And
whoa. Let me ask you a question. Though. You said who's the first Big Ten team to lose?
Yeah.
Illinois.
Yeah, Illinois. I got Illinois 15 to lose. How about you, Jeremy?
Maryland.
Ooh. You know what? I can't dismiss that out of hand. I don't like the way Maryland plays as a team. I think they're totally undisciplined and selfish.
Yep.
I really do.
They just give the ball to Queen and they just stand around and let him do whatever the hell he wants to do.
Yeah. A lot of NBA talent there. All right, guys, super job, and we'll have a great rest of the weekend. Enjoy the games, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right.
You're looking great, Tommy.
Hey man,
man. Tommy, doing good, buddy.
Don't disappoint.